Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Zamboni Talk. Before we get started today, as always, the way I like to start these videos is I just want to thank you all so much for joining me here today. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you haven't yet, all that I ask is that you please like and subscribe. So, that's about it. And to get started on today's video, what we're going to be talking about is something that I've completely eradicated from my vocabulary that I think has helped me tremendously in life. And I see people time and time again saying this, and I think it's nothing but a detriment to them and to their families, especially if they have young ones that they're trying to influence, young kids or anybody else in their life that they are trying to influence in a positive way. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about the line that I can't afford this, right? What do I mean by this? Of course I mean within reason. I'm not saying that everybody can go out there and buy a yacht or do something crazy or fly in a private jet, Those things, they might not be achievable for the majority of people. But within reason, when somebody says something that they want to do, and then the next line coming out of their mouth is that, no, I'm not doing it because I cannot afford it. I do not like that. I do not buy that. I do not use that in my life because there is always a way around things, and if you are creative and you have the work ethic, you can find a way to do things in life that are within reason. And I'll give a good example about this. And I have very expensive taste when it comes to travel experiences because in my life I work extremely hard. I don't take any days off. And when I go on vacation, I like it to be a luxurious type situation, right? But I also am not going to dip into my savings or go into debt for anything in that nature for a vacation. That's absolutely ridiculous. I will only go into debt for investment vehicles that are going to make me more money in the long run. Otherwise, I will never ever go into debt for anything. That's just absolutely absurd. But what example am I talking about right now is that I like Cabo in Mexico. If you've ever been there before, it's on the west side. Cabo's a beautiful place, right? I love it there. It's accessible for me to get to. It's on the west coast of Canada. It's just a couple-hour flight. It's an easy, cheap flight to get down. And in general, it's just good vibes down there. I like it a lot. So there is a place called the Waldorf down there, which is an absolutely beautiful, breathtaking place. And the last time I went there, I never stayed at this resort, but I walked by it, I see reviews about it, and it's a goal of mine to stay here. I say, you know what? This is where I want to stay next time. I think it would be a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I would love it. So what did I do? I went online and I figured out how am I going to stay here for a fraction of the price. Because for those of you that don't know, the days I was looking at staying there, it was $2,800 a night for the room that I wanted, right? And for most people, because somebody asked me once, where do you stay in Cabo? What's the nicest place? And I said, if you want something awesome, stay at the Waldorf. And they scoffed at me. I got made fun of. They said, that's ridiculous. They said, that's almost $3,000 a night. Like, what's wrong with you, right? So I began to look online and I said, you know what? Maybe the sticker price is $3,000 a night, but there's another way. I could do something about this. And what did I find? I found that by opening a certain credit card, if I stayed there for 5 nights, I would get 3 of them for free and 2 at a reduced cost, which would bring my total down from the stay would cost me about $14,000 to would cost me a couple grand, right? That's really what it would come down to. And that's something I could totally justify for the experience, for the absolute luxurious experience. And I'm not going to get into the exact details about what credit card to open, how much I have to spend, the points going here, points going there. There's tons of channels online that do that, and my channel is more about the mindset, about how to get there, not really so much the X's and the O's, right? But as soon as I found something that I wanted to do, and I've done this my whole life, as soon as something was in my grasp, was in my sights, and I knew I wanted to do it, I figured out a way to get it done, right? And that is the way you have to do it, because I could have so easily dismissed the fact that it was so absurdly expensive right away. I could have done that immediately, right? It could have been an immediate action for me, and that would have been the end of that. I'm never staying there in my life. That's it. We're done. Let's move on to the next thing. And that's what 99% of the people would do that do not have the disposable income to pay for that, which I would argue that 95+% of people do not have the disposable income to pay for that. So this is a great metaphor for the rest of life, because that Waldorf Hotel in Cabo is a metaphor for everything else that seems so unachievable in life. Whereas if you really break it down to what you need to do and what actionable steps need to be taken, you can do what you need to do, what you want to do. It is absolutely achievable, right? So I hope this open the eyes for somebody watching here, open your eyes and your ears to what is possible in this world. And I never ever want anybody that's watching this to say, no, I'm not doing that because I cannot afford it. To me, that is the equivalent of saying, I'm not doing it because I'm afraid. That does not fly with me. I will never ever do something because I say I cannot afford it or I'm afraid to do it. That is not even something I grasp. That's not even something that I let enter my mind any longer. And what I got into in the beginning of the video is that, especially if you have kids, if you tell them this from a young age, or kids or even younger people that look up to you, if you tell them this from a young age, that it's impossible to do luxurious things and things that are significant in this world, then what do you think they're going to grow up doing, right? Are they going to do anything of significant if they think that all these impressive endeavors are absolutely impossible? There's zero chance they will, right? Because they're like sponges and they absorb the environment that they're in. And if you're giving that bad environment, that is your fault for producing that sort of person in this world, right? So what would be the correct solution to when somebody says, I can't afford that? The correct framework around that conversation should be, I cannot afford that yet, but I will figure out a way to do it if it's something I want to do. Okay? That is what you need to say. Maybe at this exact moment you do not have the cash to drop on whatever you want, but you will find a way to do it, because that is what winners do. Okay? That is what they do. That is what they've always done. And that is how you will get whatever you want in this world. And whether it's that hotel or it's a body that you think is, a physique that you think is unachievable, a language that you think you cannot learn, whether it's the amount of books that you want to read, the amount of money that you want to make a year, who you want to have a relationship, who you think you're worthy of dating, or whatever enters your mind, what you have to say is that I do not have the tools to do that yet, but I will find a way, and I will find a way as quick as humanly possible, and I will get it done, and the rest of the world will fall behind because they will not have that sort of mindset. And it's unbelievable because I've never heard anybody else talk, or should I say speak, the way I'm speaking, right? Nobody else, no teachers, no parents, no family members that I've ever had have ever brought this to my attention and said, if you can't do something through the front door, then you look around the side, you go through the back, you go through the basement, you even drop from the roof and go through the top. You find another way to get in, right? That is what you do. So, I will place my plan into action, and I will never ever miss an experience or something in life because the I cannot do that words come out of my mouth. It will just not happen at all. So that's about all I wanted to go on in this video. My videos recently have been quite tangent-like going on rant, tangents, however you want to say them. But I know that if somebody really listens to this lesson and internalizes it and actually uses what I'm saying, it will no doubt be beneficial for them in their life. Because the worst that can happen when you do this is maybe you fall a little short or you don't exactly achieve exactly what you want. That's the worst case scenario. But you know what? You've acquired skills, you've made yourself more valuable, and if you've aimed so high, you probably hit something else that's a little bit lower, that's still unbelievably impressive for the average person. That is most likely where you will end up if you take on this mindset. So start to talk like this, start to act like this, tell other people in your life how you think. If they ask, and if people start to think that you're crazy, that you're out there, that you're being a Looney Tune, whatever, however you want to say it, you know you're on the right track. So, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.